Welcome to the Mountaineer Football Tonight Coaches Show with Mountaineer head coach Greg Lloyd. Mountaineer Football Tonight is a presentation of KMHS Sports and the Kings Mountain Touchdown Club.
Mountaineer Football Tonight, Jeff Johnson, your host. We are here in Studio 1 at Bates Fieldhouse on the campus of Kings Mountain High School. And if you hear some rowdy teenagers in the background, it's just the soccer players next door making some wonderful noise before their game tonight. More on that at the end of the show. We've got a great episode tonight, great show, Mountaineer Football Tonight. Coach Lloyd will be joining us as well as Coach Harris toward the end of the broadcast tonight. And I want you to know, here on Mountaineer Football Tonight comes to you on the KMHS Sports channel on YouTube. Obviously, if you're watching this, you know you're on this channel. But I do encourage you, challenge you, ask you to please like and subscribe to this video as well as subscribe to the channel. That way you get notifications whenever we go live and ever upload a broadcast. Got a great show in store for you. We're going to take a sponsor break. We'll show the highlights from the Mountaineers' 31-20 victory over South Point, and then we'll be back with Coach Lloyd.
Mountaineer Football Tonight is sponsored by H.B. Jones Appraisals, Long Branch Land and Water, John Gamble and Carolina Goff, the Kings Mountain Family YMCA, Brittany Austin with Hewitt Realty, Harris Funeral Home,
welcome back to Mountaineer Football Tonight. We are here after the South Point victory with Coach Lloyd. Coach Lloyd, welcome to the show once again.
Yeah, glad to be here, Jeff.
It's always good. Listen, I'm starting to enjoy this Victory Monday show.
Sure.
I'm not saying that you would be sour after a loss, but it is good to come and celebrate a huge win and a great win for the program.
Yep, and I could be sour, but I'm not today.
That's good. Very good. Well, listen, Mountaineers at home Friday night, 31-20 victory, and really the score is not really indicative of, I think, how well the team played and how really I think it was a larger victory than what the score showed.
Yeah, we played really well. I thought South Point came ready to play. I think we got their best effort, but our guys were just ready. It was just we knew it in pregame. We just felt confident as coaches just watching the guys get ready to play the game that we were going to play well, and the kids did. All credit to those guys, man. They just came out, played hard, just really proud. I thought we were good in all three phases. Like I said, I think we got South Point's best shot, which makes us feel good because I believe they were ready to go. But just pleased with our kids and pleased with how well we played.
Well, Coach, there's no doubt anyone that watched the game, it was a physical game, particularly even as the guys talked about in the broadcast. You have a team like South Point that runs that triple option, and they're constantly cut blocking, and you guys are shuffling in additional linemen on the defensive side of the ball. I think that game really was won in the trenches. I thought you held up well on defense, and I thought the offensive line did a fantastic job.
That's a great observation, Jeff, because I thought we won both lines of scrimmage, even though, like I said, South Point played hard, played well, but I thought we were the better front on both sides of the ball. And defensively, Coach Kendi had his guys ready on D-line, and Coach Cruz had his O-line ready. And those guys played like it, and I couldn't be more proud.
Well, statistically speaking, South Point came in averaging well over 300 yards rushing a game. And I thought outside of a few plays, you guys really did a great job limiting them on the defensive side of the ball.
We did. Coach Wilson had a nice game plan. The players went out and executed it. They just done a phenomenal job. For the most part, we had dive, quarterback, and pitch covered. I mean, they got us a few times. That's just part of it. But I thought we played really well, and I thought the defensive staff did a good job getting their guys ready to go.
Going into the game plan, obviously, this might have been the first game, and you can correct me, I definitely could be wrong, where you were having to use some of our offensive linemen as well just to keep the guys fresh on the defensive line. How much does that impact those players that seem to hold up well even when they went back in on offense?
Yeah, I think all of our players are in pretty good shape. You know, Coach Ted and Coach Bell have done a great job with them, getting them ready for the season. So when we ask them to do more, we feel like they can. But we want to get a little more beef in there and get Isaiah in there a little bit, and Lubus and Jackson. So they were ready to go all week. Knew they'd have to play a few more plays, and they did a great job.
Coach, after the game, one of the things that I said, and I think I'll stand by it, I think overall, I think it was one of the most consistent and all-around, I think, best offensive game that I've seen the offense have this season. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think I would agree. We played well, really from top to bottom as far as all positions. I thought everybody played a solid game. You know, Lamont was really on it. He completed a high percentage of his passes. We hit some big plays. We had no drops. We had one turnover. And it was an unfortunate play after a long game, and it didn't hurt us. So I thought we blocked well and just did a great job. And I feel like we can build on that, and looking forward to getting out here this week and trying to improve on some things. But feel good where we're at and feel good with how we played.
Coach, huge win in the conference standing. Kings Mountain now, Mountaineers stand alone at the top of the conference standing, still undefeated. Before we talk about the drive of the game, there was a point when South Point came out and Coach Harris thinks maybe it was a 17-play drive, ate up 9.5 minutes of the clock, and we responded. We're going to talk about that in a minute, but talk, if you would, about the home crowd. And obviously South Point traveled well, but we had a huge crowd, and how much really that impacted and encouraged the players and the coaches.
Oh, it was fantastic. The crowd was phenomenal. It's just so exciting for these players and for us coaches too, just the whole program to have such a such a following and such a wonderful crowd and pulling hard for the team, and that really helped. And I think kind of pushed us a little, pushed us over the top a little bit in some areas of the game. So thank you to the Mountaineer faithful for coming out strong, and you played a big role in the victory.
Well, there was definitely some exciting moments during that game. I know I think I strained a muscle jumping high after celebrating some of the big plays. But let's go. We're gonna highlight. It's been a few weeks since we've done this, but I think there was a point in the game that was pivotal. South Point had just had that long drive, closed the gap from 10-0 halftime lead to 10-6. Kick off into the end zone. You guys start at the 20. And, Coach, we're going to roll this tape of the drive of the game, which was an 8-play drive where we end up scoring a touchdown on a long play. But I'd love to get your coaching insight to talk over this.
So we started out with a G-trap to Teddy. Teddy Jeffries had a nice cutback run, picked up 22 yards. That's a good start. And then we fed out here to the flat. They played it well to Jake. So we didn't pick up anything there. And then we come back here on second down. Run a lightning screen out to Zorion. Gets 8. Actually close to 10 yards. Get us in a very manageable 3rd and 3 right here. We go back to Teddy again. He puts his foot in the ground, gets us a first down. Picked up about 5 yards. Then we're back in our rip set. Pick up about a yard, maybe no gain. So now we're 2nd and 9. We run a rocket screen out here to Jaqueline to the other side. He picks up 9 yards. Now we're 3rd and 1. This is maybe one of our worst plays of the night. They had a really good defensive end. He kind of blew it up. But credit to Teddy for working hard to get it back to manageable 4th down so we could go for it. 4th and 4, okay, we're in a right set. This is called Gator Fish. Tight end kind of crossed the field. The safety sees him, and then Lamont makes the perfect read and goes over the top to Xavion for the touchdown to put us up 2 scores. And we answered the call right there, and that put us up 11 after Jaden's extra point. So it was a very pivotal moment of the game.
So walk us through. In my opinion, later in the season, we're probably going to try to do some plays of the season, let our Mountaineer fans vote on. There's my vote up to this point is that 4th and 4 call could be right now leading for the play of the year. Help us go through your mind a little bit. You and the coaching staff, you guys, it's 4th and 4. You're at the 40-yard line. You're sort of that in between. You don't want to punch. You could go for it. If you don't get it, it's not too damaging. But is that a play that Lamont has multiple options that are short, and if the defense covers that, or was it designed all the way to go deep?
Well, he had an option to throw it to 2 players. He could have thrown it to Jake kind of over the middle. They covered him up really good. The safety really ended up triple teaming him, and that really left Xavion open over the top. So Lamont made the perfect read. We were very confident in our players to execute in that situation, so we didn't think twice about it. We just went ahead and ran a play we felt comfortable with that we've run many times, and the players executed and came through.
Got to be a collective sigh and celebration. That was a phenomenal play and a pivotal point where Mountaineers continued to roll. We would go on to stop them and score another touchdown to really kind of put this game out of reach. Drive of the game for this week, the South Point game. Coach, that was a huge win considering the fact that we've got 3 more games remaining in the season. Congratulations on the big win over South Point at home.
Yeah, thank you. Really proud of our players.
Well, Coach, we're going to talk about, let's go ahead and do our players of the game. As our Mountaineer Football Tonight followers should know, Patriot Jacks is our sponsor for the players of the game. I'm just going to let you roll through however you want, offense, defense, special teams, and let us know who you and the coaching staff chose for the players of the game this week.
Okay, we'll start with special teams. We're going to go with our place kicker, Jaden Ellis. He had an excellent night. He made all of his extra points, made a big field goal, did a nice job kicking off. So our Patriot Jacks offensive player, special teams player of the game, Jaden Ellis. Defensively, we're going to give it to a man that's got it multiple times this year, but he had such a good game. You cannot deny him, and he played really well. He's all in their backfield the whole night. couple of sacks. A.J. Richardson was our Patriot Jacks Defensive Player of the game. And on offense, we're going to give it to two players. We couldn't kind of distinguish between the two. We had one up front on the O-line, and then our quarterback, Lamont Littlejohn, who, like I said, completed a high percentage of his passes and made a lot of big throws and led our offensive team. Then, of course, it doesn't go without a good night from our offensive line, and we thought Isaiah Eskridge had just a phenomenal game at right tackle, did a great job, and those two players are our Patriot Jacks Offensive Player of the Games.
Well, congratulations to each of these young men for their performance. A huge game Friday night. Mountaineers come out victorious, 31-20 over South Point, and maintain first place, number one overall seed in 3A, as well as first in the conference. Well, Coach, we're going to take a sponsor break. Thankful here on Mountaineer Football Tonight for our sponsors. When we come back, we're going to look ahead to this next Friday night's game. We'll be back in just a minute.
Mountaineer Football Tonight is sponsored by H.B. Jones Appraisals, Long Branch Land and Water, John Gamble and Carolina Goff, the Kings Mountain Family YMCA, Brittany Austin with Hewitt Realty, Harris Funeral Home.
Back here on Mountaineer Football Tonight, Jeff Johnson with head coach of the Mountaineers, Greg Lloyd. Coach Lloyd, let's look ahead. We've got Stuart Cramer travel to go up the road not too far to face Stuart Cramer this Friday night at 7:30. Stuart Cramer comes in with a 3-4 overall record, 1-3 in the conference. They're coming off a win over Huss. They traveled to Huss and won 22-21. Give us your outlook, and I know that obviously preparation following a huge game. What's your outlook for this Friday night? How's your preparation look? What do you expect for us to see as Mountaineer fans Friday night?
Well, I hope you see a motivated team that understands their situation. We got 3 regular season games to go. We're in a great position, but we can only play one, and that's the one we're playing Friday, and that has to be the most important game on our schedule at this point, and we've got to come out ready to play. I believe we will. I like the energy of the team right now. It's got a good mindset. We have not played Stuart Cramer particularly well the last few times we've competed against them, but in last year they hung 28 on us. And they've got an excellent quarterback, excellent offense. They blitz a lot on defense, so they're a very aggressive team, and we'll have to be ready to go. We have to get off cloud 9 and move on. And if we don't do that, we won't play as well Friday. So, but I believe we will. I believe we'll come back ready to roll and have a good week out here at practice and put our best foot forward on Friday night.
Very good, Mountaineer fans. You definitely want to travel to Stuart Cramer this Friday night at 7:30 to cheer on your Mountaineers. And I know that we always travel well, and I know that really means a lot to the players and coaches. So you need to fill the stands there at Stuart Cramer this Friday night at 7:30. We do want you to know that we will not be having our normal broadcast on the KMHS Sports YouTube channel. Drew's traveling as well as myself and some others, but we do hope that Craig Short from the broadcast will be able to provide a Facebook Live on the football channel, the football, group that is there on Facebook. We'll get some more information about that on there, and we're hoping that Craig Short can bring that to you live on Facebook too, for those of you that can't travel. But we encourage you to go to Stuart Cramer this Friday night. Coach, as always, thank you for being with us tonight, and congratulations on a big win over South Point. And I know that as you have shared on here many times, you're not looking back. You're looking forward to the team that you guys are facing this week.
We can't do anything about the past now. We got to move on and hopefully play better. We got to try to keep improving, and I believe we got the kind of team that'll do that.
Coach, as always, thank you for being with us on the show. Look forward to next time. And folks, when we come back after this sponsor break, we will have Coach Harris, who coaches special teams, with us.
He's best in the business. That'll be a treat for the fans.
Sounds good. We'll see you back in just a moment.
Mountaineer Football Tonight is sponsored by H.B. Jones Appraisals, Long Branch Land and Water, John Gamble and Carolina Goff, the Kings Mountain Family YMCA, Brittany Austin with Hewitt Realty, Harris Funeral Home,
Well, Coach Harris, one could say, well, you and I definitely could say this is like deja vu. We weren't able to have, well, we recorded, I think, a fantastic interview. If I could do say so myself, a wonderful, because as Coach Lloyd says, you are the best in the business, and we had a fantastic recording last week that was not recorded on YouTube. Let us down a little bit, but we're glad we're even recording this just to back up. We hope that this is going to show tonight. Well, Coach Harris, welcome to the show.
I appreciate it, Jeff. Thanks a lot.
I know last year I enjoyed you joining us, and we're going to have to make this, I guess, a habit a little bit.
I think Coach Lloyd's requiring it now.
It's good. It's good. It's in the contract?
Yeah, it's in the contract.
It's good. We'll tell that to Cruz, too. That's good. Well, let's talk about special teams. You know, for those of viewers of Mountaineer Football Tonight, or any football fan really should know the value and the importance of the special teams. Offense can sometimes get all the limelight, and we know that we're strong on defense as well. Special teams can often get overlooked, but I know that is not the case. Special teams plays a huge role in the outcome of any game, from kickoffs to extra points to field goals. So, Coach, talk to us about your coaching philosophy on kickoffs. Let's talk about kickoffs first.
Right.
Because for those of us that have watched, even we just talk about this season, we know that sometimes you've got Jaden will kick it deep, and he's got a strong leg, no doubt, that can kick it in the end zone. Sometimes you guys have him kick that high kind of pooch kick. Sometimes there's onside kicks. Share with us week to week your coaching philosophy on kickoffs, the strategy that comes into really your game planning week in, week out.
Well, we always look at who their deep guys are and how well they do block. But then we check the wind, of course, and when we come out, we give Jaden the opportunity to go deep, usually on his first kickoff, and if he's pretty good, we try it again on the next time. But as the game goes on, a lot of times what you try to do is we might throw the ball up high and short. It takes away some of their blocking scheme. It also takes away some of the main collisions that you get sometimes when you've ran all the way down the field. We try to cut that back a little bit, and we feel like we're better on covering pooches this year than we are on the deep kicks. He had a good day today kicking the ball, so I hope that's what we see Friday night, just putting the ball in the end zone.
Well, talk about Jaden a little bit. What a luxury, I guess.
Yes.
You know, you've got my son has just started long snapping for the middle school team. Of course, as I've told you on the sideline, he wants to be the next long snapper after Gabe Short. It's a luxury for you. I know Max Thompson is a new punter for us this year on varsity, but the luxury you have, really a blessing it is for you, for you to have a long snapper that's got a lot of experience. But talk about also the advantage of having Jaden and the experience and really the ability that he brings.
No question. I've been doing special teams since 2015, and like I told you last week, I get way too much credit for what I do. Not only do I get the luxury of using other coaches' players, but since I've been here, we've been fortunate to have kickers. We've had long snappers ever since I've been here. A couple of them's played D1 college football. Jamie Wilson's at Gardner-Webb. Cooper Short was at Presbyterian. Gabe's following in that footstep. We've had kickers every year, and these kids go to camp. They work on their own, so it's a big luxury for me.
I think some could call us perhaps long snapping you.
Yes.
Very good. Special teams. Well, I know you do a great job coaching the players. I know that you mentioned they do some on their own, but definitely I know there's a lot of game plan and it goes into that. Talk about week to week how you choose the special teams units. Obviously, we mentioned you've got your long snapper, you've got your punter, barring injury, you've got your kicker. As far as the other guys that cover, that are on the line for extra points and field goals, as well as the unit that covers kickoffs, What's that selection process look like?
Well, most of the time we're looking on the defensive side of the ball because these are guys that run, these are guys that tackle on a daily basis. And like I told you before, the offensive guys, they're trying not to get tackled. So the defensive guys are usually pretty good at getting people on the ground, and that's what we're looking for. Of course, size helps, and we've got some guys this year that can actually run, but we don't ask that of them a lot. I did the other night, but that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for physical guys that like to run down the field and make hits.
Well, I know we have shared off camera that when we played high school football, both you and I shared maybe a not so good experience on our first time covering kickoffs.
Yeah.
I know that I got laid out the very first time playing. Sometimes I think you got to have a little bit of crazy in you to be on the kickoff coverage team.
You like to see a little bit. You like to see
Not
a little
too
bit.
much.
Yeah. You want to dial it back a little bit, but I like it when they're excited about running down the field. I like it that way.
Of course. How does your, let's say, okay, today's Monday, we're filming this. What does your practice schedule look like for special teams? Because obviously you are utilizing players that are on the defensive side of the ball, offensive side of the ball. How do you work that into the practice schedule throughout the week?
Well, like today was just a day for long snappers and kickers to come out and just loosen up, get a little bit of work in. While the defense and offense were watching film inside, it gave us the opportunity to have a little bit more field to work with. So they come out and they kick, and then they left. Tomorrow we'll get into our game plan, and we'll start putting scout teams out for Stuart Cramer, give them an idea of what it's going to look like when we get out there on Friday night. And we'll just break it down, and we usually try to cover 2 or 3 units a day. And tomorrow, it'll be punt protection, maybe PAT field goal tomorrow with kickoffs, and then Wednesday we'll go kickoff returns with something else, and then Thursday's a game sim day, and we'll cover everything. We'll cover all that, hands team, onside kicks, everything on Thursday.
And that comes in handy because we know the South Point game, they definitely went to the onside kick.
Yeah, it did, and that's good to see because we're going to make a couple of adjustments just to help ourselves out. I felt like we played it smart on the first onside kick. Thought we could have got a penalty. Guy came in the free zone and hit Jake, and that probably should have been a penalty. The second one, I'm going to give the kid credit. The kid for South Point, he hit an excellent onside kick. It popped up in the air right over the front line, and nobody could get it. Yeah, nobody could get it, and so that was just a good onside kick. Wish we could have got that. It wouldn't have made things quite finish up the way it did, but give him credit.
Yeah, a couple final questions.
Okay.
Not a curveball, but
All right.
One is you have your game plan. When the game comes Friday night, you've got your game plan in. Sometimes, obviously, best laid plans of most events, the plans sometimes can change depending on scenario. What's that connection and communication going on with Coach Lloyd during the game and with other coaches? What's that look like?
Well, yeah, we've gone over a couple of different scenarios through the week, and we know what we like to do when we have a lead, and we know what we have to do when we're behind. Then we have that communication on the sideline, and a lot of times, once we score, once we score, I pass Coach Lloyd on the sideline, and I might just mention to him, this is where we're going to kick it, or he'll tell me where to kick it. But it's usually we're on the same page on that now. Now it's up to the kicker to put it where both of us want it. And
sometimes it doesn't happen.
That doesn't happen all the time.
No, hypothetically speaking, not say that it didn't happen Friday night. Well, last question. This may be the curveball, so to speak.
All right.
I know a number of weeks ago, I forget, maybe it was the North Gaston game. One of the games, the grass looked thicker than the rough at the U.S. Open.
That was North Gaston.
So how sometimes when you arrive, now this week at Stuart Cramer shouldn't be much different because you're playing on artificial turf. But when you go to a grass field, that plays into the kickoffs as well.
Oh, no question. The specialists go out about 10 after 6. We get to go out there and walk around the field a little bit early and check things out. And we noticed that night how thick the grass was that night. Jaden tried a couple of different things. He tried actually tearing up the turf to set his tee down in, and then we figured out that his tee could sit on top of the grass. Max kicks with a lighter tee, and his ball wouldn't sit on his tee. That grass was so thick. But the issue Jaden did have was in his leg swing, his cleat would get caught up in the grass a little bit. So yeah, some teams do that on purpose because it feels like if they're playing a faster team, maybe they want to slow us down by playing on a thicker turf.
Interesting.
Yeah.
In that game, it seemed like the ball was half covered.
Yeah.
When the ball was teed up. Well, Coach Harris, you do a great job with the special teams, and congratulations on a successful season thus far. And thank you for what you do, pouring into young men. And I know that from having worked with teenagers and young people, it's very rewarding.
Yes.
And a lot of times it's great to keep in touch with. You mentioned a few former players.
Keeps you young.
That's right. That's good. Well, thank you for being with us.
I appreciate it, Jeff.
It's always good, always a joy and pleasure to have you on Mountaineer Football Tonight and give us a little insight into the great mind of the best in the business, as Coach Lloyd says.
No, I get way too much credit.
Well, that kind of wraps up this segment with Coach Harris. So glad that he could share about the special teams. And when we come back after the sponsor break, we're going to talk just briefly about the other events going on here in the sports world at Kings Mountain High School with our This Week at Kings Mountain segment. We'll be right back.
Mountaineer Football Tonight is sponsored by H.B. Jones Appraisals, Long Branch Land and Water, John Gamble and Carolina Goff, the Kings Mountain Family YMCA, Brittany Austin with Hewitt Realty, Harris Funeral Home.
Thank you so much for tuning in to Mountaineer Football Tonight. Glad that you could be with us. Listen, as we wrap up in the next few minutes, I do want to encourage you to like this show, subscribe to the channel if you've not already done so. We would love for you to be a member of our family here on KMHS Sports on YouTube. We're going to wrap up this segment of the show with This Week at Kings Mountain, and you're going to see the graphic on the screen, which highlights a number of the other events going on here on the campus of Kings Mountain High School, as well as our sports teams that are traveling this week. Our women's tennis conference tournament is, I believe, going on right now over here at on the mountain over here at the Kings Mountain Tennis Courts. The men's soccer team is about to start in about 30 minutes. So if you're watching this live, come on out and cheer on the soccer team as they take on Hunter Huss here at home. Tomorrow, the women's conference tournament will continue here at home. The women's golf team will have a match at Lincoln Country Club, 2 p.m. tomorrow. Volleyball travels to South Point with varsity at 6, JV at 4:30. And there's a cross-country meet, 5 p.m. At the York Comprehensive meet. Wednesday, the men's soccer team will be home, 6 p.m. kickoff, tea time, whatever you want to call it as soccer calls it. The beginning of that game will be against North Gaston at 6 p.m. Thursday, volleyball plays Stuart Cramer home, 4:30 JV, 6 p.m. varsity. And the junior varsity football team will play at home here at John Gamble Stadium with 7 o'clock kickoff for that matchup. And last of all, as always, we mentioned it earlier in the broadcast, Mountaineers travel up the road, up 85 to Stuart Cramer. And you want to see, definitely travel up, and we want you to fill the stands at Stuart Cramer. We will not be having a YouTube broadcast on that show, which means you need to get your tickets, you need to go early, you need to be loud, and cheer on your Mountaineers. If we are able, Craig Short's going to do whatever he can to possibly do a Facebook Live broadcast for those of you that might be traveling, and we're looking to put that possibly on the Facebook group for the Mountaineer football program. Well, that is all we have. Thankful once again for Coach Harris being with us and Coach Lloyd each week, and he's the best in the business, as Coach Lloyd said. Of course, I know that our very own Coach Kevin Cruz is in the running for that. He loves to be on the show. And we're hoping soon, the next couple weeks, Coach Cruz will be with us as well. He's in the back of the studio giving me the evil eye right now. It's been a great show, Mountaineer Football Tonight. Grateful for Drew Fulton pushing all the buttons, make us look good. It's been a great week. We'll see you next time. Take care.
Mountaineer Football Tonight is sponsored by H.B. Jones Appraisals, Long Branch Land and Water, John Gamble and Carolina Goff, the Kings Mountain Family YMCA, Brittany Austin with Hewitt Realty, Harris Funeral Home,